In Hollywood, everything old is new again. Now, we've talked about remakes and we've talked about sequels before, but there's some that have been announced recently that I just have to comment on. I can't help it. The other day, I got a news item about Warner Brothers remaking some of their terrific movies, and this draw a very strong reaction from me and a lot of other people. So I think it's time to address this. First of all, one of the movies they talked about remaking is The Wild Bunch. They are already remaking, actually, they might have finished it, Straw Dogs. Not Warner Brothers, but another entity, actually, Sony, has remade Straw Dogs. These are two masterpieces from Sam Peckinpah, and The Wild Bunch should not be touched. It is an awful idea. This is one of the greatest westerns ever made. It's groundbreaking in the way it showed violence. It's got one of the most fantastic cast of all time: William Holden, Ernest Borgnine. It's just a great movie. There is no reason to remake this. Now, a few years ago, I actually had a chance to interview a writer director named David Ayers, best known for writing Training Days, and there was a rumor that he was going to remake The Wild Bunch. He said under no circumstances would he even attempt to remake the movie. Nobody can come close to it. So Warners, please do not remake this great film. It you do in slow motion, I will scream. That's how Sam Peckinpah would have filmed it. Now, there's also word that they're going to reboot. That's the new term, reboot, not remake. Lethal Weapon, which means no Mel Gibson, no Danny Glover. Well, so if you don't have Mel Gibson, you don't have Danny Glover, what do you have? Cop Out without the laughs? Well, wait a second. Cop Out didn't have any laughs anyway. I'm sorry. Now, Lethal Weapon's story wasn't that original to begin with. And to tell you the truth, I know I might be in the minority here, but I actually like Lethal Weapon 2 more than Lethal Weapon. I like the villain a lot better. Remember those Cougarans and everything going on there with Joss Ackland? But and by that time, they established the chemistry between Gibson and Glover, so you didn't have to go to like an origin story. Lethal Weapon, I don't know. I'm sort of on the fence about this. Of course, they couldn't use Mel Gibson now because Mel Gibson, people aren't quite sure what to think of him or whether they'll go to his movies. But really, Lethal Weapon is not much more than a routine cop movie with some good chemistry between the characters. So that, I don't think so. There's also talk that they're going to do a new Dirty Dozen. Okay? Now, first of all, people forget they have already done sequels to the Dirty Dozen, the classic war movie. There were 3 TV movie spin-offs way back when, and actually a very short-lived TV series. I believe it was in the 80s. So if you redo the Dirty Dozen with a new cast, what do you have? Think about it. See, a bunch of guys get together. They're kind of convicts. They're kind of nasty, and they're in a war. Sounds a lot like the A-Team, the Expendables, Inglorious Bastards. Yeah, that's what you get. It's basically the same idea. So why try to remake the Dirty Dozen? You already did. There's no reason to remake the movie. Yeah, I mean, I could see somebody, with a little gravitas like Arnold Schwarzenegger taking the Lee Marvin part, and you can get all these colorful young actors to play the convicts that go on this Nazi mission. I'm sure they'll change it from the Nazis to Middle East or something like that. But, why bother? Just make a different war movie. I don't care. Call it the Expendables again. Call it something else, but it's not the Dirty Dozen. Now, there is one remake that Warner Brothers has announced, and they've been talking about this for years, that I think could work, and that is a remake of the movie Westworld. At one time, Schwarzenegger was going to star in the film. Now, was he going to play the bad guy gunslinger played by Yul Brynner, or was he going to be the guy visiting Westworld? I don't know. This, of course, is based on Michael Crichton's terrific debut film where a bunch of adults get together, go to this amusement park, and sort of the lunatics take over the asylum. The robots that are there kind of take over. Yul Brynner is this gunslinger who goes after the adults, namely Richard Benjamin in the original movie. this is not a bad idea, especially with special effects being the way they are. And I can actually see this working. There was also a sequel called Future World, and I don't see why they couldn't sort of put them both together and remake it. So this is a possibility. Now, the final reboot that I want to talk about is not from Warner Brothers, but it's called About Last Night. Remember that one? That was with Demi Moore, Elizabeth Perkins. Actually, Elizabeth Perkins was the name. Demi Moore was sort of the co-star, I believe, and Jim Belushi and Rob Lowe, kind of a Brat Pack mixture there. And that was a watered-down version of David Mamet's play Sexual Perversity in Chicago. It's sort of like the pre-Judd Apatow movie, so to speak. And I think the idea is that these R-rated comedies are popular now, at least in most cases. And, you have some profane dialogue, some sexual interaction between the characters, and voila, you have a new comedy. Well, I wasn't that in love with About Last Night anyway. I would have liked to have seen a stronger version of the Mamet play. So if they go back to the roots and actually make it the way it should have been made, it's not a bad idea. But if they do another one of these films that I call faux Apatow, who needs it? Anyway, this is Movie Irv saying, go to the movies often, but beware of the reboots and the remakes. Ooh.